Imagine a world where every moment of your day is about seeking pleasure. Think about how great it would be if you always had entertainment, distractions, and everything you wanted to make you happy. But ask yourself, what would you be willing to pay for this? Could chasing pleasure lead to freedom, or would it actually trap you? Today, we'll look at how the search for constant pleasure, as warned by Aldous Huxley, can turn into a form of modern-day slavery. We'll explore ideas from old wisdom and new psychology to show how our desire for comfort, ease, and happiness might be taking away our freedom and even our humanity. By the end of this video, we'll share an idea that could change how you think about life forever. Let's start by looking at Huxley's Brave New World. In this book, he imagines a world where people give up their freedom for the illusion of happiness. Citizens take a drug called soma that makes them feel happy all the time, no matter how meaningless their lives are. Huxley's world isn't controlled by chains or prisons. It's controlled by pleasure, so powerful that no one cares about being free. Now think about our society today. From the constant notifications on your phone to endless scrolling on social media, aren't we being given our own version of soma? Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi talks about flow, which is a state of being really engaged in something. But he also warns that technology can make us addicted to constant pleasure. Algorithms feed us content that keeps us coming back, but leaves us feeling empty. How often do you grab your phone for a quick bit of happiness, only to find yourself hours later, tired and unsatisfied? This is what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. It means no matter how much happiness we find, we quickly get used to it and want more. We're constantly chasing something that never lasts. This problem is real. Research shows that spending too much time on social media can cause anxiety and depression. The more unhappy we feel, the more we turn to the very things that make us feel worse. Viktor Frankl, a philosopher and survivor of the Holocaust, said true happiness comes from having a purpose, not just chasing pleasure. When we don't have meaning in our lives, we turn to distractions, which only make us feel emptier. Ask yourself, are you living with purpose, or have you let the pursuit of pleasure take over your life? Every day we make choices, like whether to watch more TV or spend time with people we care about. These little choices add up and shape our lives. Huxley once said that humans often take things for granted. In the search for pleasure, we risk missing out on the deeper joys of life, things like relationships, creativity, and helping others. So, here's a big insight. Chasing pleasure doesn't make us free. It traps us. We end up stuck in habits and cravings that waste our time, energy, and potential. Now let's look at the attention economy. This is a system where your attention is the most valuable thing. Every time you scroll or click, you're not just engaging with content, you're being sold. Your brain is wired to look for rewards, like getting a like on a post or buying something new. The anticipation of pleasure gives us a bigger dopamine hit than the pleasure itself. This is why we keep checking our phones or seeking validation online, even when it leaves us feeling empty. Platforms are designed to keep us addicted. They use tricks like random rewards to keep us coming back, much like slot machines. In Brave New World, Huxley's characters were controlled by pleasure. We face a similar situation today. We're not using drugs like soma, but digital distractions are just as effective at keeping us from thinking about our freedom. The more we chase pleasure, the less we grow. Philosopher Newport says that constant distractions stop us from focusing and achieving great things. The most rewarding parts of life come from effort and concentration, not easy pleasures. Think about how much time you spend on activities that actually enrich your life. How often do you choose short-term pleasure over long-term growth? We live in a culture that tells us more is better, more stuff, more fun, more success. But philosopher Erich Fromm warned that this leads to a shallow life, where we focus on owning things instead of finding deeper joy. So, what's the alternative? It's about focusing on purpose, not just pleasure. This doesn't mean we can't enjoy life, but we need to rethink how we use pleasure in our lives. Psychologist Martin Seligman says, "The happiest people focus on meaning, relationships, and engagement, not just pleasure." Think about it. What truly brings you joy? Not the temporary kind, but the kind that lasts. Can you spot areas in your life where you choose short-term pleasure over long-term growth? To break free, we need awareness. We must notice the systems that keep us hooked on pleasure. But just being aware isn't enough. We have to take action. Start by limiting distractions, setting boundaries with technology, and focusing on meaningful activities. These small changes will add up. Now, let's talk about the biggest insight. Real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever we want. It comes from having the discipline to choose what matters most. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said that when we know why we're living, we can handle anything. When we live with purpose, pleasure loses its hold on us. Think about the people who made a real difference in the world. People like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. They didn't seek comfort. They embraced struggle to pursue something bigger than themselves. Viktor Frankl said there are 3 ways to find meaning: by creating something of value, by experiencing love and connection, and by finding growth in suffering. These ways require us to look beyond our own desires and engage more deeply with life. Ask yourself these questions. What do I want to leave behind? How can I use my strengths to help others? How can I turn difficult times into opportunities for growth? The final insight is that chasing pleasure is a distraction from the real pursuit of meaning. True happiness comes from living with purpose, not just seeking pleasure. To do this, we need discipline, the ability to choose long-term rewards over short-term fixes. Discipline gives us control over our impulses and helps us live life on our own terms. Start small. Wake up earlier to reflect or set aside time for a meaningful goal. Every time you resist distractions, you're reclaiming your freedom. As we wrap up, remember that Huxley warned us about a world controlled by pleasure. But we have the power to break free. By choosing purpose over pleasure and discipline over indulgence, we can live lives of true fulfillment. The choice is yours. Will you keep following the easy path, or will you choose to live with intention and purpose? The chains are invisible, but they can be broken. Choose wisely and take control of your life. One practical way to begin is by paying attention to when you reach for your phone, open a new browser tab, or glance at the TV. Ask yourself if you are genuinely interested in what you are about to do, or if you are just escaping boredom or stress. By noticing these moments, you take the first step away from mindless gratification and toward purposeful action. Next, think about setting concrete goals that reflect your deeper values. For example, if you value learning, commit to reading a certain number of pages in a book every day. If you value connection, schedule time each week to meet with friends or call loved ones. These actions, though small, start to build a strong sense of direction. They give you something meaningful to look forward to, which can make empty pleasures less appealing. Also, don't be afraid of discomfort. Whether it's trying to learn a challenging skill or being present in a difficult conversation, discomfort can be a gateway to growth. Sometimes we avoid hard things because they don't give us an instant rush of happiness, yet they can lead to deeper satisfaction in the long run. Little by little, choosing growth over ease makes us more resilient. On this path, it helps to track how you spend your time each day. You might keep a notebook or use a simple phone app to log your activities. Seeing how many hours slip away on meaningless scrolling or background noise can be a wake-up call. When you notice these patterns, it becomes easier to replace them with habits that align with your purpose. Finally, remember that finding freedom from constant pleasure-seeking is not about removing fun from your life. It's about making sure that fun is balanced with depth. Enjoy a movie or a new game when you want to. Just be sure it doesn't keep you from investing in relationships, creativity, or personal growth. Each moment you devote to what truly matters is a victory against the pull of trivial distractions. Over time, those small victories turn into a life that feels both fulfilling and free.